So let us move forward to the Notre Dame passing game. I'm sorry, the Notre Dame pass defense against the Stanford pass offense. And here are the numbers. And no surprise, the numbers are lopsided once again.
Yeah.
And I will continue on with my diatribe about Jack Cohn. About McKee and his immobility. He also has a very long throwing motion. Like he brings it all the way back and all the way forward. That is going to take some time to get rid of. All I see when I see that is strip sacks and the ball getting loose because of Notre Dame's rush, them getting their hands on the ball as it's going through the windmill motion that McKee had. Now, look, he's got a strong arm, but in the games that I've watched up to this point, he's all arm. Like he doesn't step into his throw. Now, part of that because he doesn't really have an opportunity to step into a lot of throws, but he's all arm with his throws. And when it takes that long to get rid of the football, you are inviting a good pass rush to just absolutely mess with that and knock the ball loose. And I mean, I just feel like Notre Dame is just staring at turnovers right in the face against this team.
You took the words right out of my mouth. And what we've seen from this young secondary that has come in the stead of the All-American being on the sideline with the injured knee, Xavier Watts and Ramon Henderson, and the range that they've shown and their willingness to stick their head in and tackle and be in the right spots, I think they're going to get opportunities for multiple interceptions. And Isaiah Foskey, look, he has an opportunity to declare Stanford Stadium as his.
Oh, yeah.
My field. You remember the last time we played Stanford at that stadium, he had the big punt block.
That's right.
In return. So he had a big game that game, even though he wasn't a starter defensively. And I think he has another big game as a pass rusher. I'm gonna put him down. I think he's gonna match Riley Mills from Virginia. Okay. I really do.
Get two?
Yeah.
Or did Riley have three?
Three.
He had three.
He had three. That's how he ended up flying first class back home.
That's right.
He had three.
That's right.
He's going to get three, but I'll look for some interior guys to get sacks as well.
Yeah.
Notre Dame might reach that 8-9 status in sacks against Stanford because, like you said, once Notre Dame scores early and Stanford is forced to get out of that ball control, Stanford only scores 21 points per game. They only put up 11 against Cal. And Cal's defense is nowhere near Notre Dame's defense. So I'm looking at all of these numbers, and I look at Stanford coming in at around 75 yards rushing and 219 yards through the air. Nah, maybe 150, 160.
Yeah.
With a couple of interceptions, boatload of sacks. That completion percentage won't be 63%. I can tell you that.
Right. And they do a lot of RPOs, but they're so slow. Like their RPOs are so slow. I just don't know. Well, they're not effective with it, obviously, as we're looking at these numbers. They're not effective with their RPOs, and the lack of speed at which they run their RPOs is going to be detrimental to them. I mean, if you look at these numbers, okay, Notre Dame is fourth in the country in sacks, and sacks allowed for Stanford's 102nd. Okay, right there. If all these numbers, throw them out the window. That number right there, jump off the page.
Yeah.
I mean, jump off the page at you. I mean, they have 38 sacks, and thanks to Jackson Hignite over in our chat, I will throw it up here. He says, fun fact, Stanford gives up about 3 sacks a game. If Notre Dame meets or beats that mark, they'll have the all-time team sack record, which is 41, set back in 1996. I think they're going to blow that number away.
I wonder if there's an over-under on that in Vegas, because I would take that prop bet.
Oh, my goodness.
I would take the over in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Over 3?
Oh.
In a heartbeat.
It's going to be over 3 in the first half.
Yeah. You're probably right.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
I just think they're gonna blow by that number. And it's gonna be ugly. Again, their quarterback is one of the most immobile guys I've seen in a really long time. He wears that like offensive line knee brace on one of his legs.
Yeah,
he's not looking to run. and he will turtle shell it just like Jack Cohn did a few times earlier on in the season. If there's any hint of pressure, he's going to go down, and Notre Dame is going to be in his face. I mean, Marcus Freeman in this front seven and Coach Elston, and they've got to be licking their chops at the opportunity to get to continue with the game plan that they had against Georgia Tech, just that aggressive, coming at you from all angles, game plan that they had. Just repeat it. Repeat that game plan against Stanford, and you're going to have just a boatload of success.
Yeah, and with, this is a typical Stanford team. Multiple tight ends they like to use, and big wide receivers they like to throw the 50-50 balls to, right? The only difference is the play action isn't as effective because the running game is so bad. So now that you don't have that running game to be able to pull the safety down for the majority of the plays that you run,
right?
The post patterns that they like to run, the fades that they like to run, really aren't effective because I was watching the game and Cal refused, even on third down, to go to man. They would fake, show one thing, and immediately go to 2-man, cover 2, or even quarters. Like, they just refuse to give the opportunity for the jump balls. And I don't know what Marcus Freeman has up his sleeve, because I definitely think Notre Dame's going to be far more aggressive than Cal was. Cal basically just let their 4 defensive linemen wreak havoc and the linebackers and shut everything down. Marcus Freeman, I think, whether it's 3-down linemen, 4-down linemen, they're going to be coming after a sitting duck.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to come after him, and they're going to force the short passes because, like you said, they want to go play action and take hits over the top to get the big plays. And I think they'll try to eliminate that and force the ball out of his hands quicker than he might want to get it out of.
Absolutely. And look, Stanford went play action. I believe it was play action, but they went deep on a post. First play of the game against Cal.
You got picked, right?
Because it was thrown. I mean, it was just.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was nothing on that ball whatsoever. Honestly, because McKee throws all arm, and he got nothing on that ball. Again, we're talking about the front seven licking their chops in the pass game. Secondary's got to be doing the same thing.
I mean, you're right.
They're going to have opportunities to better their 5th ranked mark in interceptions in this game. I mean, they should be able to ball hawk in this one. There's going to be so many balls in the air, and there's going to be so many balls up for grabs that I just feel like this Notre Dame team is going to have an opportunity to not only the front seven turning the ball over with strip sacks and things of that nature, but also being able to get balls out of the air and pick them off, and then give the offense short field, and it's game over.
Yeah, and we can ease in Notre Dame fans. I know a lot of them, are leery about going out to Stanford Stadium because a lot of crazy things have happened out at that stadium when Notre Dame has gone out there with a particular bowl on the line or a big-time bowl on the line with the win. This won't be the case this weekend.
Yeah.
Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Let all the anxiety go away.
Yeah.
And just enjoy what you're going to see at Stanford Stadium on Saturday. More than likely, it's going to be a dominant performance by your Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And I'll ask you this question as a tease.
Okay.
We're talking about Stanford's offense against our defense. And you guys are going to be talking about, of course, the reverse on tomorrow.
Correct.
Right. From what you've seen, what's worse, the D line or the O line for Stanford?
Whoa, man!
Because I can't wait for you guys to put up some of the stats from their D line and their run defense over the last 3 games.
I mean, the Cal running back had a career day.
Yeah.
A career day. And I mean, and all he did was make one little jab step move. And if he was any faster, he would have taken it to the house, but he got caught from behind because he's kind of a little roly-poly running back. But, I mean, he didn't get touched.
At all.
Their run fits are horrible. So that's a really good question. I'm going to have to think about which one's worse because they're both pretty bad.
They are.
The Jeff Quinn apologists are going to have a good time with this game because the offensive line should be very good. They should be. The numbers, at the end of the day, the run game numbers should be very good. Of course, we'll talk about that more tomorrow. But, yeah, it's going to be the trenches should belong to Notre Dame on both sides of the ball.
Here's another one. Who's more aggressive on Saturday, Tommy Rees or Marcus Freeman?
Well, I think it's going to end up being Marcus Freeman. But Tommy Rees should be able to just do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
And he should have success doing just about whatever he wants to do. And if last week is any indication, and if they can build off what they did last week, it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be fun to watch because I loved the game plan on both sides of the ball last week. So, because they were both aggressive. Both sides of the ball were aggressive.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely.
I think this is a game where we see the return of Cam Hart.
Yeah.
I think Cam really hasn't gotten a lot of balls thrown at him per game. Teams are really going after Tariq Bracy and Clarence Lewis. I think he'll get an interception. He was on a roll there early in the season. I think he gets an interception this week, gets off the snide, and we see one of his best games, especially against the taller receivers of Stanford.
Okay, so formality here, advantage 2.
Oh, heck, man! How far can we take?
Yeah,
can we go down any further? It's like, the advantage pass defense of Notre Dame, and once again, like the way you talked about Marcus Freeman and the way he's developed and the way he has, I think he's really been patient. Because he's been in between, in my opinion, he's been in between a rock and a hard place, which is what he wants to do. And early on in the season, trying to please his head coach. And his head coach, in my opinion, as you said, has really backed up his offensive line coach and protected him and shielded him from the criticism.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, he's been very open in his criticism of things that have gone wrong defensively in certain games and press conferences. And so the way he's handled himself and everything that's happened and has gotten that defense to this point to be performing at top notch, we know who they're facing.
Sure.
They're not the best teams, but you still go out there and you perform no matter who's on the field. Right? It's about your level of excellence and what you want to do, regardless who the opponent is. And I think he's done a masterful job of bringing this defense along.
I agree completely.